Are 10% copper equivalent or better, some over 20%. Unheard of holes, really, anywhere in the world, in the history of the world. So that's how good it was.
You guys have about like 11 billionaires involved in this story. And that is pretty insane to think for if someone looks to go, oh, you're a penny stock looking for power nickel, you've got that many billionaires involved. That kind of speaks volumes as to what you're working with and what the potential is.
Yeah, you know what? And they've all been sort of hard fought to get them, because obviously you got to go through gatekeepers to meet these people, and obviously they didn't get to be super rich by being stupid. So they have the best advisors, and they ask the tough questions, and they do their due diligence.
Today, we're talking about, and I love the fact that they're able to put a press release saying remarkable in the headlines, especially when talking about a junior mining discovery. Pretty incredible coming out of the gold digger property.
They see a lot of visible gold here, and that's not really a big surprise, because if you look, way back to the first season I think they drilled was 2021, and they did metallurgical work shortly after that, because they did see a lot of visible gold in holes. They took my advice. They did a round of metallurgy, I think, in late 21 and early 22, and then they did another one in late 22 and early 23. And both rounds of testing, just hands down, demonstrated absolutely fantastic recoveries. The metallurgical results to date speak volumes about the very high quality.
You'll remember Dr. Quinton Henning was on a few weeks back, and we see great movement from both of those companies being received exceptionally well. We've worked with Goliath and owned shares of Goliath for years and years. We believe in this story. We believe in the syndicate and the entire team that they've amassed. The big news, not only from back at the conferences, was the drill results, which were incredible, and we're waiting on a ton more. It was yesterday's announcement from McEwen Mining that they are coming in for, I think, 3%. So 10 million. And that is significant, because once again, you start attracting the likes of the Dr. Quinton Henning, Rob McEwen, all these kinds of names into your deal. People take that as a sign, because you're attracting savvy mining investors that have done very well in the past. Certainly is information on our Substack, and I mean, there's a myriad of interviews that you can go through over the years where we've expressed our excitement as to what they were developing, and they continue to develop. Power nickel is no different. I mean, it's amazing to have one high confidence stock any year, especially in mining, because if a mining stock goes, it goes asymmetric. But to have two is exceptional, especially in the light of what I think is coming for the mining sector. And Power Nickel has been knocking it out of the park. We had them on the show a year ago. We immediately started buying, and told people that as part of our network that we were really excited, and then started officially working with them back in September. And that stock, since September, 60 cents. It's up at $1.38 right now. Part of what we do is we let people know companies that we love and we like. It's how we've done really well in the past. It's in part, we got to work with Great Bear years ago. We had great success with that. We have a framework, like a model that we use, and we have a network that we use. And that's a lot of the hard work and heavy lifting, is being able to rely on a lot of smart people and their expertise. That goes a long way. And we make sure for our subscribers that we're doing that. We're identifying risk. We're explaining the asymmetric possibility, really putting timeframes into perspective. Once you get some of these big players getting involved, as you would have saw with Great Bear, is people coming into the deal at different sections, adding more, I hate to use sort of credibility, but certainly adding a lot more flavor whenever you're getting further acknowledgement from mining billionaires and major investors saying, yes, we're acknowledging that you have something here. We want to let people know about that. Usually we keep that just for our subscribers, exactly who and how much we're buying. But we've been pretty vocal about those two. Hey, everyone. A little bit of a promo there about what we do and how we work. Oh, it's tough to listen to. I hate having to listen to myself. But nonetheless, it must be done. And we don't usually go about being a little bit more aggressive marketing-wise that way. But it's important for people to know what we're doing and how we work with subscribers and people that follow us, because that's core part of the business. I mean, I looked at what we do is We provide a lot of education and a lot of outreach to hedge funds, to fund, different fund managers, CEOs, you name it, people that are experts in, say, in nuclear power or battery energy tech. And we want people to get caught up to the realities of these topics, not just the catchy, media type stuff that's out there. Albeit I am, I guess, technically media, but we actually do the research. It isn't just some headline from a tabloid type, mainstream media type of approach. And we want to highlight that is that we have that framework we work with, and it's done exceptionally well. And we want to let people know that 2025. Not only is it started out great, I mean, let's just look at power nickel quickly before we start talking about tariffs and gold. It's up at $1.56 today. And in part, that is because they put out outstanding news today as well, which let me just kind of give you the headline. We've got an article on it for our subscribers. But we see that they've hit, let's see, whole PN 24095A delivers 10.6% copper equivalent over 5.35 meters with 3.61% over 19.4 meters. That is significant. That's all I need to tell you. You can put it even to ChatGPT. Grab the headline, put it in there. Are these good grades? This is what's great about having some of this machine learning, AI, large language model things. People don't even need to rely on any of our opinions anymore. They can just grab a headline and say, is this good? Now, of course, you need a bit more than that when you're dealing with mining. But to start off, that's not a bad place to start. I encourage people to do that because part of what we focus on is critical thinking, and not just to take something at face value that someone on TV gave their opinion on something and then it's true. Far too many times we hear people parroting something they saw on a TV show, and always have to ask, well, who told you that? Like, where'd you get that information from? And that needs to be addressed. We need to deal with that in a very fervent way, and that means always questioning if someone brings up something. Is that result, say, from Power Nickel good? It's very easy to find out if it is good or not, whether you use ChatGPT or you go reach out to a network of other geos or other people talking about it, go into a forum, see what they're saying about it. There are other ways that one can go about finding out, and that's part of what we do. We want to make sure that our network is very strong. We believe in what we're doing as a model, but we also have outreach to so many people that it really helps. And that's what we offer to people who don't know what they're doing, that are just looking at mining. They're just getting excited about it. And we also, let you know, we have for that kind of inner network, what's going to happen next? Who's the next company that looks amazing and is kind of beaten up right now for 2025? And we have that one. And we're very optimistic. In fact, there's two that we think are looking outstanding for 2025. And we'd love you to join and become part of that. And that is something we're developing. So gold and tariffs, I think it goes without saying. Gold is doing exceptionally well, 28.74, I think, as of a couple minutes ago. The battle is on, although delayed a little bit. We had an article out the other day where we went into a bit more detail about our position as to tariffs, why I think they're important for Canada right now. I know that's very controversial because it's going to cause harm. It definitely will. It will also cause harm to the U.S. I don't care what kind of level of posturing that's coming south of the border. You wouldn't be even gesturing or joking that you wanted to make Canada part of the state unless you wanted what we got. And they do. Let me just Trump made the critical metals list. He's the one who came up with it for the U.S. In part, his administration, and he was a big part of it. People forget that. He wants it. He knows what we have. Now, a lot of it is undeveloped and underutilized because of the government, essentially. Not because we don't have it, not because we don't have incredibly brilliant geoscientists and excellent companies and excellent penny stocks that have great resources and that are also hitting numbers like Power Nickel. It's not because of that. It isn't because of talent or ingenuity or innovation or we have incredibly bright people. It's because it's being withheld and it's being smothered and held back. That's just it. Now, before we get into a little bit more dirt about that, what are we going to see with gold? Well, all paths lead to better prices for gold. I mean, I think 3,000 is coming pretty soon. I hate to be the the fortune teller and putting numbers in there. But I mean, Goldman Sachs clearly thinks that. I don't think there's anything, even if we come to a bit of an agreement with what Canada should be doing anyway regarding protecting the border, never mind just protecting our own citizens and stopping the flow of fentanyl. Everybody who lives in BC knows that fentanyl comes in through Vancouver. This is not a secret. And the Americans aren't unaware of that either. So if you are out east and you're not aware of that, it's not hard to reach out, find out. It's pretty open, and it's unfortunate that we're known for that, but that's a problem we need to deal with. So, that is a reality check, and we've got strong opinions as to why we think it's necessary. We've talked about, in the last couple of years that more pain was to come, and we're getting the last of it. I think we've been put in a situation, once again, not because that the U.S. doesn't like Canadians. They love Canadians. They think we're super nice. We are super nice. We're great people. But they certainly do not like our government. And there's no reason why we should either. We've got a bit of an article here showing from TD Bank's point of view and their perspective and their analysis of the decline of living standards in Canada over since 2015. You can look at a chart of gold. Let's go back to gold for a second. Look at a chart of gold from 2015 to today. It was around $1,100 for gold when Justin Trudeau took power. We're now at $2,875. That gives you a good, earmark as to what occurred. Now you can say, oh, there's been lots of events that occurred in the meantime. Yes, they shut down the economy. That doesn't help. That data is all out there now as to whether that needed to be done or not. And believe me, half of the country didn't think we needed to do it, and the other half thought we had to. And this is stuff that's being unveiled over the past 6 months to a year, and will continue to do so. And regardless of the misinformation that's been put out there for quite some time, the issues don't go away. Like, there's a lot of work to be done, and that means gold is going to be great. It's going to be a fantastic place to have your money. We've been screaming at people right from the beginning. In fact, when I first started the newsletter, I really had a relationship with a gold company that I thought at $1,100, saying to people, maybe don't just buy all weed stocks. This was back during the weed heyday. Believe me, they were doing very well buying weed stocks. But I said, look at just your boring cash portion and just buy gold instead. Like, just put it into gold. Don't put it in a money market fund. Why do you want to own Canadian dollars anyway right now? And I mean, just doing that alone, if companies had just taken their cash portion or immediate, cash on hand and put it into, the Sprott ETF for gold compared to sitting in a money market fund, that would have been a dramatic improvement, because it's just been a decline. It is, I won't say it's an investment, because it's a reflection of the decline in the economy and inflation and everything else. And I don't think I need to tell anybody that lives here in Canada or in the US of the incredible decline that we've had. If you just look at the data, look at the numbers, look at your lifestyle, look at just trying to get by, we know that it is. Remove the as to why it happened, because that's going to come from a political opinion, and just realize that that's just the reality we face right now. And that we need to have people, whatever side of the table they're on, that can come out and have a plan to deal with tariffs, to deal with, how can we get around this, and have solutions. We don't hear anything from the people that are currently in power. Not only that, but they also decided to take a holiday. They shut down Parliament for the beginning of the year, but also during this crisis. Can you imagine if you were running Google or Amazon and you had a major lawsuit or a major problem, or someone said, we're going to stop the flow of your goods and services into a major market. And they said, well, okay, listen, we're just the company's shut down. We're not going to make any decisions for the next month because I'm scared that I'm going to lose my job. The board would be firing that CEO. It would be dealt with swiftly. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen especially in our current political environment, but certainly not in any Canadian parliamentary liberal democracy. That doesn't happen. And that's unfortunate. We need to have change. And I'm not going to, berate the failures. I mean, they're pretty self-evident. We have a good list from TD here as well that lists some of the things. But listen, The tariff situation, will it impact monetary policy? It absolutely will. Will it impact supply chains and production costs? It absolutely will. It's going to hurt us. It will. And we can try to hurt them back, and that's fine. We should stick up for ourselves. But I want to reframe this isn't an attack on Canadians. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form it is an attack on our government. And I think that this is a signal to say, have some competent people that are going to do business and to do the things you say you're going to do. Like, if we are promoting the fact that we are green and we are all for meeting climate objectives, that means the flow of natural gas to countries that need it. It means that we should build pipelines, not have Quebec just say, no, you can't do that. Because if we can get natural gas to some of these places using coal, that would be amazing. If we could get the critical metals out in a nice, fast pace, and I mean ones that meet all the standards, that have their permits done, that have EPA, have water, have all of these reports done and gotten checklists that, yes, you're approved, you've done it. And instead of being stalled then immediately, and that is part of the permitting process from the feds on the way down, is that it's fast-tracked and developed right away. Can it be done? Yeah. Well, we just see in the news today, and this is good news, amid U.S. tariff threats, BC to fast-track 18 mining and energy projects worth $20 billion. That's a good start. That was fast. So my kind of thought with these tariffs is this is a win-win. It's going to be painful still. Like, make no mistake. The growth from TDE for Canada is not good. The damage has been done. Even if there is a change of power, it means a lot of work has to be done. But for us, in the sector we're in mining and energy, this is the opportunity that is developing. BC is as far left as you can get. They're fast-tracking projects now. And this is a place that arguably you can find so much, but they will make it difficult to get it out of the ground. And now they're fast-tracking projects. And this is, once again, a very far-left government. That's a huge win. That's an enormous win. Now, this is not all mining, of course. They're going to prioritize 4 mines, including Eskay Creek and Red Chris, 3 energy projects, including 11 BC Hydro Clean Energy Ventures. And that's going to help them, bolster their economy. Fantastic. That's great. And this is coming from the extreme left. So imagine what if we had a federal change of a more conservative, business-friendly environment where they say, okay, that's how our extreme left is viewing things, that they're recognizing that we should probably get clean energy projects going and clean battery metals going. Then imagine what those on the right who've known this for a long time, imagine what that could mean for Canada. Imagine what that could mean to all these penny stocks and these exceptional ones, like Power Nickel, soon to be Power Metals, and then of course Goliath, and a number of other ones. Imagine what will happen to them if Canada then has a change in government, or at least a change of personnel that reflects that, yes, Canada's open for business. The years of kind of self-hate and like, oh, we're terrible and we've done all this terrible things and oh my goodness, and prioritize, no, we're amazing. We should be patriotic. We've done amazing things, incredible things, and we're sitting at the forefront of doing even better. That's a huge upside. So amongst this tariff shadow that I see as being a lot of smokescreen, a lot of important things are going to get done, and they're going to get done properly. So people kind of question me as to, why are you happy about this tariff, Andrew? It doesn't make economic sense to be happy about it. And I'm thrilled. I think maybe just because I look at it from an overall bigger picture macro environment and remove Trump's mean and he's being a bully, because I don't consider that an argument. I don't care if he is or not. He's going to get things done. And he's going to achieve the results from the left ideology of climate change. He's going to solve them with a battering ram, rather than stopping some, maybe encouraging some, slowing down others, but virtue signaling that, oh, look what we're doing. No, let's actually do it. There's another article saying that China commands about 75% of nickel production in Indonesia. And it's not hard to go research, not to pick on Indonesia too much. This is not a clean environment. So if you are wanting this transition and you say, oh, immediately, Tesla's just going to buy nickel from Indonesia because it's cheap, it's reliable, we can get it. Amazing resource. No, we should be doing it somewhere where we have control and regulatory oversight over it so we can do it properly. this is a dirty business. Extracting anything from the ground is dirty. You can't do it. I mean, that's a euphemism to do it cleaner, but we can certainly do it a lot better with over our viewing and control on our own land. We have the resources. We have all the talent. So let's unlock it. So I look at this as being, it's a signal to Canada that it's time to grow up. It's time to get in shape. It's time to unlock those that are excited, that have merit, all the talent that we've got out there that is just leaving because they don't see opportunity. They haven't been given growth. And I think it's coming. I really do. And this just one small gesture from the BC government, that's huge in my book. For them to fast track any mining project, because they will stop all of them. I don't care what they say about, oh, we're for critical metals. No. They will say on one hand and then allow any NGO, special group, special protected group to stop a project. Boom, no problem. That has to stop. If you are convinced that there is a climate emergency, we have to act in response. We have to take it seriously. Then that means we have to get all these critical metals. And not only just because you might want AI, you may want robotics, you may want all the things that come from extraction. It's going to solve all the issues and problems regarding the climate narrative and issues. So I look at these tariffs, although being painful, and yes, we're being bullied a little, but we're being we're being woken up. And there was change coming anyway. The change should have happened already. There should have been an election. I hate to get too much into the election stuff because I remove the social stuff and all this stuff, but just monetarily speaking, if we just look at the economics, the GDP and the growth, leave all the hot topics out, we haven't had any kind of management team that can run not only a company or has ever run a company that can run a country. And we need that. We need a plan. We need to get what we're good at, which is all these natural resources out in a sustainable way and a friendly way and urgently. So if we can unlock that, the amount of money, the billions that will flow into Canada will be very quick and swift. And that will be the change that young people will see. So this is my take on tariffs. We have a lot more on it. We have all the charts, all the data for our subscribers. And it's a hot take. I mean, a lot of people are going to be pissed and defensive because they're stuck to an ideology, and I get it. I don't blame someone for that. It's tough to challenge one's core beliefs. I've had to in my life all the time, and it's uncomfortable. And that's what we kind of do, or not kind of do. That's what we absolutely do with the reason why we've called one of our products the model market mindset. Is you have to have a model and you have to have a mindset of being critical and questioning yourself as well. Is this true? And I need to verify this. I need to verify it. And I need to check to see the actual data, the evidence. I don't need to see anyone's opinion on it. I don't care what CBC's opinion on it or Fox's opinion on something. If someone's telling me I shouldn't go look, I shouldn't look at data, I shouldn't look at an actual scientific report, be cautious, be very worrisome. We've got nothing but trouble in the last 4 years because people said, don't look, don't question. You should constantly question. And just as there'll be the change in the US and there'll be a change in Canada, I would say blindly follow that either. Question it constantly. That's what we should be doing. But we're going to see results soon, and especially in our market. And I'm very powered up. And we're getting that reflection in 2 stocks, but there's going to be a lot more. And that's my take for today. It's a short one. We've got a lot of great guests that are going to be on very shortly. And listen, guys, hang in there. It is painful right now, but the other side is coming, and it's coming fast. All the best. Send me your comments and your thoughts, and we look forward to. Oh, wait, before I jump off too, sorry, I almost forgot. Let's not hear it from me anymore. Let's hear a little snippet from Pierre Polyev. Sorry, I almost forgot one of the main things I want to do because I didn't want to keep droning on to people. But let's just watch a little clip here that acknowledges some of these issues.
Remain so helplessly dependent on just one export market, the United States. Canada must also look to sell to other countries, and I've found just the one. It is a country that needs Canada's products, and it sells things that we benefit from buying. It's a peaceful democracy with lots of resources and famously nice people. It shares our climate, culture, and would you believe it? Their official languages are French and English, just like us. There's only one problem. This country imposes massive trade barriers on us that cost about $5,100 per person. So which country is it that we should be pursuing as our new top trading partner? Switzerland? France? No. Our new top trading partner will be Canada. But don't we already have free trade with ourselves? Nope. It's actually easier for our businesses to sell to other countries than to other Canadian provinces. Trade barriers between Canadian provinces are actually more costly than trade barriers between Canada and other nations. The result is that we now trade more with the rest of the world than we trade with ourselves. In 2023, international trade was worth 66% of our GDP, while interprovincial trade was only worth 36%. That makes no sense. Economist Trevor Tomb estimated that eliminating all interprovincial trade barriers would boost Canada's economy by as much as 7.9% and generate an economic boost of $200 billion per year.
Okay, let's pause there. It goes on and on. And I encourage people to go watch it. But I like this. And listen, sub in Mike Carney if you like. If he comes out with the same kind of plan, great. So I'm trying not to make this political, but he's not saying that. In fact, he's saying kind of the opposite. If someone has a plan like this, and once again, you're going to have a lot of critics saying it's not that simple, Andrew. Of course, it's not that simple. He's just giving a highlight macro of what it is today. It's incredible. I mean, Quebec imports billions of dollars worth of oil and gas. Like why? I mean, Alberta's got it. Why aren't we flowing it to our own country? Doesn't make any sense. So that has slowed down in the last, I think, year or so. But that's been happening for years and years and years, and it's one of highlight of many things. So there's a strategy. We don't have to rely on the U.S. I think it's good if we do. I think that's what will happen in the end. But we have an opportunity to trade within and to build our country from within. Once again, if we just deployed capital appropriately, we have all the resources here. The amount of engineering jobs that go elsewhere because we don't have engineering jobs for people. Well, let me preface that. We have no end to engineering jobs for extractive industries. It's just they're not, people aren't aware that they're there, and they've also been dissuaded from doing it. We need to promote that. There are so many huge high-paying jobs. We've had people on talking about that. And to have a business plan to move forward for the whole country, that $200 billion is significant for our country. And we can see that happen. That is a big number. And once again, it's not that simple, but sometimes it is that simple. The biggest thing holding back is you have to do this form and then go to court, and then there's bureaucracy and you have to do that. No, like a lot of that has to stop. And I kind of put this in a more whimsical kind of way. If you live in a province that has a sign in the bathroom showing you how to wash your hands, that's a problem. That's showing an incredible decline in civilization. If you have to have a government program to instruct you how to wash hands, that's a failure of society. That's another hot take. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. But moving on beyond that, we have to do this under the auspices of a bigger macro picture. And of course, we're seeing the response from Canada is one thing. Mexico has bent the knee. They get a month off until the further discussions. Canada is getting that now as well as of yesterday. Justin has talked twice now with Mr. Trump about solutions. He's going to protect the border. He's granted money, or he said he's going to put money towards. It doesn't matter. He's not going to be there anyway. So whatever he decides or whatever talks he has aren't really relevant. But it's a nice gesture that he's going and having the discussion with Donald Trump. But the bigger issue is China. So we talked about Palantir last year. It's a little bit out of our wheelhouse, sort of, but because we like AI, Palantir is a very heavy software AI application company. This company, when we were talking about, was about $20. It's gone about 500% in the last year. And I mean, this is one that is different than a penny stock. It's up to 200 billion in market value, and that's in part because yesterday they came out with incredible revenue growth. They're on a growth factor that is startling, and part of the reason why we looked at this is because we saw they were one of few that wasn't a hardware like NVIDIA, that was actually software applied using real machine learning to what they're doing logistics wise. And they were getting a lot of funding, for dealing with, with Ukraine and issues. And a lot of people don't like funding war initiatives or anything like that. Once again, I get it. It's hard to feel too good about making money off of that sector. A lot of people are uncomfortable with it. Yeah, that's part of your model is, how do you want to make your money? But Palantir has done exceptionally well, and they've got a perspective that I agree with, and it comes from I don't think it's any surprise. I mean, they call it a trade war with China for a reason, because a trade war is not unlike putting your troops with trebuchets out in front of a castle back in the old days. You may not be at war and literally tossing in wreckage or dead carcasses or boulders at the castle just yet, but you are stopping the flow of goods and services and food into that castle. You're making life very difficult. It isn't just a euphemism, and we have been for a long time with China, whether one likes it or not. And that's the Biden administration. That's not just like me saying so. And that's escalated now a lot more with Donald Trump. But let's take a listen to Palantir and their perspective as well.
That we've been saying for the last 2 years, which is that the models are commoditizing. Yes, they're getting better across both closed and open, but they're also getting more similar, and the price of inference is dropping like a rock. But I think the real lesson, the more profound one, is that we are at war with China. We are in an AI arms race. And I got into a disagreement with Sam Altman about this at the Senate AI Summit over a year ago, where I was arguing that we are in an AI arms race. And there's an opposing view that we can all get along and we can cooperate on these things. And I'm sure the other side feels quite different, realizing that their IP has been stolen in this process here. But this war started long ago. It was an economic war with the ascension of China to the World Trade Organization, the greatest IP theft in history, the greatest wealth transfer in history. It is an opium war. The number one cause of deaths of 18 to 45-year-olds in this country is fentanyl. That is coming from China. It is a diplomatic war. The Belt and Road Initiative is basically indentured servitude for other countries to the CCP here. And the unprecedented phase zero gray zone operations of the CCP, how many times are we going to believe that anchors are dragged across the sea that cut undersea cables here? But I think one of the things, China knows they're at war. The question is, we kind of equivocate on it as a peace-loving nation. But one of the things I want to make sure we all do realize is that the engineering in R1 is exquisite. The optimizations that they've done are really impressive.
We'll pause here.
You can get away with it.
He goes more into talking about DeepSeek and its difference and whatnot, and more the technicalities of AI and their inference models, which is interesting enough. We were happy to share that clip with people. But you can imagine a year ago when I heard them talking about their perspective, which was identical to mine. I've been saying for years that just because you don't know you're in a fight doesn't mean you're not in a fight. And we haven't really accepted that we're in a fight because we want to be nice. And the ideology of being, if we just hug enough people and be kind, that everyone in the world will be nice and kind. That's not how all of the world, most of the world views reality. And we need to wake up to that. And that's an important lesson that Palantir is teaching us and is being reflected in the market. They are having incredible success. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the next 4 years, because there's a recognition of all of this. There's a recognition that we need these critical metals. Instead of just talk, there's a recognition this has to be done. And it's not an easy process. And we can't have people just stalling it and stopping it because they don't like business. They're Marxist or they're communist. And they're like, no, we don't want there to be energy growth, or we don't want the West to be successful. We want the East and developing countries to rise up and to diminish the West so that there's a more equal playing field. That's fine as an ideology, and I wouldn't discourage someone from having that. You can have that opinion. It's just not interesting to me. I work on a basis of a hierarchical model that's kind of based on most liberal arts, actually, that your nearest framework of people are ones that you're more motivated by. You want the best for your neighbor, your friends, your family, those in close proximity, than you do someone who sits 3,000 kilometers away that you've never met. The brain works that way. You know this person, you want the best for them, they're closer to you, and you can have an effect on them. Even with all the technology in the world and Zoom and everything else, you really can't have an effect on someone in a foreign country, foreign government, foreign beliefs, and a different language. You shouldn't. I mean, it's not even real. It's all virtual. And I think if we get back to that sense of you can have an immediate impact on a small scale in your community and build that up, and we do it properly based on merit, based on achievement, then we stand a chance to have an incredible 4 years. And that's going to mean incredible things for all extraction, but especially mining. And if we can get that message right up to the highest levels of government that's currently shifting and changing, then we look to have a huge asymmetric gain. And that's what we're being a part of. And that's the message we want to get out to people. And there's plenty of people, whether you like me or whether you like anyone else, there's lots of people in this mining space that carry the same message, that have incredible newsletters and lots of interesting perspectives. We'd like to have them on, and we've reached out to a lot of them as well. So anyways, that's me for the day. That's a lot of ranting. That's my perspective. That's my point of view. This is going to be an incredible year. Hang in there. But the results are already being shown in some of these incredible projects, and there's more out there. So come join us. Send me your thoughts and have a good day.
Are 10% copper equivalent or better, some over 20%. Unheard of holes, really, anywhere in the world, in the history of the world. So that's how good it was.
You guys have about like 11 billionaires involved in this story. And that is pretty insane to think for if someone looks at, oh, you're a penny stock looking for power nickel, you've got that many billionaires involved. That kind of speaks volumes as to what you're working with and what the potential is.
Yeah, you know what? And they've all been sort of hard fought to get them, because obviously you got to go through gatekeepers to meet these people, and obviously they didn't get to be super rich by being stupid. So they have the best advisors, and they ask the tough questions, and they do their due diligence.
Today we're talking about, and I love the fact that they're able to put a press release saying remarkable in the headlines, especially when talking about a junior mining discovery. Pretty incredible coming out of the gold digger property.
They see a lot of visible gold here, and that's not really a big surprise, because if you look, way back to the first season I think they drilled was 2021, and they did metallurgical work shortly after that, because they did see a lot of visible gold in holes. They took my advice. They did a round of metallurgy, I think in late 21 and early 22, and then they did another one in late 22 and early 23. And both rounds of testing just hands down demonstrated absolutely fantastic recoveries. The metallurgical results to date speak volumes about the very high quality.
You'll remember Dr. Quinton Henning was on a few weeks back, and we see great movement from both of those companies being received exceptionally well. We worked with Goliath and owned shares of Goliath for years and years. We believe in this story. We believe in the syndicate and the entire team that they've amassed. The big news, not only from back at the conferences, was the drill results, which were incredible, and we're waiting on a ton more. It was yesterday's announcement from McEwen Mining that they are coming in for, I think, 3%. So 10 million. And that is significant, because once again, you start attracting the likes of the Dr. Quinton Henning, Rob McEwen, all these kinds of names into your deal. People take that as a sign, because you're attracting savvy mining investors that have done very well in the past. Certainly is information on our Substack, and I mean, there's a myriad of interviews that you can go through over the years where we've expressed our excitement as to what they were developing, and they continue to develop. Power Nickel is no different. I mean, it's amazing to have one high confidence stock any year, especially in mining, because if a mining stock goes, it goes asymmetric. But to have two is exceptional, especially in the light of what I think is coming for the mining sector. And Power Nickel has been knocking out of the park We had them on the show a year ago. We immediately started buying and, told people that, as part of our network that we were really excited, and then started officially working with them back in September. And that stock, since September, 60 cents, is up at $1.38 right now. Part of what we do is we let people know companies that we love and we like. It's how we've done really well in the past. It's in part, we got to work with Great Bear years ago. We had great success with that. We have a framework, like a model that we use, and we have a network that we use. And that's a lot of the hard work and heavy lifting, is being able to rely on a lot of smart people and their expertise. That goes a long way. And we make sure for our subscribers that we're doing that. We're identifying risk. We're explaining the asymmetric possibility, really putting timeframes into perspective. Once you get some of these big players getting involved, as you would have saw with Great Bear, is people coming into the deal at different sections, adding more, I hate to use sort of credibility, but certainly adding a lot more flavor whenever you're getting further acknowledgement from mining billionaires and major investors saying, yes, we're acknowledging that you have something here. We want to let people know about that. Usually we keep that just for our subscribers, exactly who and how much we're buying. But we've been pretty vocal about those two.